back at you with another video from 80's Nut.
So what do I have for you today? Today I have the WMF702 from Sony, made in Japan. If you look at it and you're thinking to yourself, 702, that looks exactly like a 701. Well, you're right. It is the predecessor to the 701. The 701 was the 10-year anniversary Walkman. And if you can find the 701 in the clamshell case, the large clamshell case with all of the limited edition accessories that are in there, that is a amazing unit, and it's a very, very, very sought after unit because it's the 10th anniversary. In fact, the clamshell has the 10th anniversary logo all over it. If you want to see what that looks like, that's on a different video that I have up, and you could just look that up. Now, this unit has pretty much every bell and whistle that you can ever imagine or want on a portable cassette Walkman. This is at a time when Sony was decimating the competition. They weren't just in the game. They had won the game. They had demolished the Coliseum, and they were building a new place for their team. I'm not even kidding you. There was no competition for Sony when it came to the Walkman units. You had so many competitors that were out there, but they were all trailing behind. Now, how did Sony do this? Sony did this by making sure that every model that ever came out to the retail market was vetted in a extremely meticulous way. They would have a team of engineers that would work on their own specific Walkmans, but before any Walkman could be released, they would have the entire team of engineers sit and, in many cases, debate the release, and they would nitpick every single thing that you could imagine on there. It was a time-consuming and very costly way of doing things, but the end was beneficial to the company. They knew that what they were actually releasing was in high demand, and the end consumer knew that too. So they didn't release something that looked funky and cheap, and the engineers knew that by vetting it. So, for instance, to give you an idea, so if a particular engineer had a project to design a particular model, even though it was his project, at the very end it would get proofed by a number of other engineers in a boardroom, and each person would be able to speak their mind on pretty much every aspect of the Walkman, and by doing that they were able to produce much better quality units. Anyway, that's how that works, and that's why Sony did so well with the Walkmans. This particular Walkman is a full metal jacket Walkman, which means that the entire housing is aluminum. In this case, it's not painted; it's actually powder coated with a satin black powder coat, and it's as elegant as it gets. It's got beautiful chrome accents, and they didn't go overboard and just make the whole thing ridiculously funky with too much of anything. This is just pure elegance. This would be pretty much the Rolls Royce of these small units. If you look on the side here, they put the little LED lights where they could have just made them just standard LED lights, but they actually made them in the shape of arrows, so you'd be able to tell the direction of the cassette rotation, because this unit does not have a window to be able to glance at the cassette rotation. Has the digital synthesized tuning on the front there with a little LCD display, and that's for your AM or FM tuning. The back has your Dolby control, your cassette. We've got metal, CR02, and normal. Your loop has your hold feature, so that way if you accidentally bump into any of the feather touch controls, and they're all feather touch controls. That's what the hold feature here is for. So that way, once that is on, it would bypass all of the controls, and you wouldn't be able to bump into them and either turn your tuning, change the station, or stop the cassette from playing, or maybe accidentally hitting forward or rewind. The unit actually is controlled by a remote control, and here, let me show you what that looks like. Small, compact little remote control. I kind of wish that they would have had the LCD on this backlit, but it is not. It's still in an incredible unit. It's not such a big deal. It has a headphone jack there. They do have an adapter, so if you don't have the remote and you're not able to control the unit with, or sorry, you don't have the remote, it's not a big deal. In this case, you would need a adapter. Don't have the adapter here with me, but it looks identical to this. It just doesn't have the molded wire on it. Instead, it has the jack input for your headphones, and it still fit there. This has the tiny Sony headphones there. No brace that goes over the head. So I'm trying to think if I'm missing anything. If you're wondering what the bottom gold pieces here, these are actually power contacts for a battery adapter. Has a threaded hole there, and that would be for your battery adapter that would attach on the bottom there by screwing this in place. The unit actually runs on a gumstick battery, so if you're not using the gumstick battery and you just want to use the battery adapter, you'd be able to put the battery adapter, or you can put the gumstick battery on the inside here. Inside is absolutely beautiful and very, very elegant. It's amazing that you would say that about a cassette deck, but there are some very ugly units out there, and this one is not one of them. They really thought of everything. Again, similar to other units that I spoke about, it's rather delicate when you're inserting the cassette, because you're actually inserting the cassette into the door and not just inserting the cassette into the holder there, which is the Walkman unit. You're inserting into the door and then closing the door with the cassette now inserted into it. That has been a issue with pretty much all the manufacturers that have that, and that's everybody from Toshiba, Sharp, Panasonic, Iowa. A lot of times the end user are not as savvy as the manufacturers thought, and they would insert the cassette incorrectly. And I'm not talking about putting it upside down, but insert it where it doesn't end up in the tracks and trying to shut it, either tweaking the door hinges or bending the tracks for the cassette holder. But what ended up happening is they were getting a ton of these returned, and it's by no means is it a Sony only issue. That was pretty much all different manufacturers. Anyway, trying to think if I'm missing anything here. I don't think I did. I think I ran through pretty much every feature on this unit. If you like the video, please help me out. Thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't already. I can definitely use that. And if there is a particular model that you'd like me to talk about, if you want me to do a video on a certain model, just let me know. Put your comments below. And until next time, 80's Nut, out.